The signals were unmistakable. Turkey had reached its limit. The air was tense with the hum of surveillance drones, and the smell of burning fuel from recent missile strikes still lingered in the air. We were hit hard, and the warning bells rung loud. The danger was creeping closer. Russia had crossed a line no one thought possible in the Black Sea. Pushing boundaries, they violated Turkish airspace 3 times in recent weeks, capturing the skies with hostile drones. Meanwhile, Turkish ships in Ukrainian ports came under missile strikes, like thunderclaps echoing across the waters. What does this mean? It's no longer a game of diplomacy. Turkey transformed from a neutral mediator into a fierce gatekeeper, ready to cut Moscow off entirely from vital routes. The Kremlin might not have grasped it yet. Ankara is prepared to unleash the ultimate card from its deck, the Montreux option. The threat to close the straits is no idle bluff anymore. It could mean a devastating blow to Russia's economy and economic collapse in the making. Imagine Putin caught between 2 storms, Black Sea chaos threatening to spill over into the Mediterranean, each wave bringing political upheaval and strategic nightmares. How could Russian ships become trapped on this route? What then? Erdogan's response came from the highest levels in Ankara. While the world braced for a straits closure, Turkey quietly made its bold move, one Russia couldn't have foreseen. The new focus shifted to Romania. Turkey decided to arm the western coast of the Black Sea, strengthening NATO's eastern flank, using its own cutting-edge defense industry. A sophisticated version of the Milgem-class corvettes, produced at Turkey's Asfet shipyards, was handed over to the Romanian Navy. Known as Akhisar, these vessels are far more than patrol boats, they're ships for war. Equipped with advanced underwater sonar systems, guided missile launchers, electronic warfare gear, they are naval predators. This isn't just an export success, it's a strategic shift. Each ship pushes the front line further, establishing a physical presence that Turkey's military is actively strengthening. It's as if a new barrier is forming across the sea, one that transforms from passive deterrence to active containment. The shared patrols, the radar scans, the missile systems, every move they make builds a wall that Russia can't breach. And it's not just surface ships. These developments send a chilling message to Moscow: Turkey is no longer sparing efforts. Every drone shot down, every vessel fortified, these are signals that Ankara is applying its rules, and they mean business. Diplomacy and caution are giving way to direct messages in military language, naval power and air defenses. Every Turkish ship, every radar sweep, now represents a wall impossible to penetrate. Beneath the waves, away from diplomatic eyes, a new alliance silently emerges, one that could end Russia's naval dominance in the Black Sea. Known as MCM Black Sea, it's more than a name. While Russia tried to use mines to block Ukrainian grain shipments, Turkey preempted with one of NATO's most clever counter-strategies. Turkey, Romania, and Bulgaria signed a pact. Together, they established a permanent NATO-compliant naval force in the Black Sea, legitimate, sovereign, and unstoppable. This move is a masterstroke. For years, Russia threatened to strike any US or UK vessels entering the region. Now, no more threats. The sea is filled with ships flying Turkish, Romanian, and Bulgarian flags, all part of NATO's network. These ships operate under NATO standards, using NATO munitions, all monitored via NATO's data systems, completely integrated. Every Russian submarine move is watched in real time. Their stealthy channels of activity are exposed and tracked by multiple sensors. The Black Sea, once Russia's backyard, has turned into NATO's most advanced outpost. Sevastopol's fleet is now hemmed in, pushed back, forced to retreat further east to Novorossiysk or beyond the Caucasus. Turkey's strategic moves are squeezing Russia from all sides, north, south, and across the sea. But the pressure doesn't stop there. Expanding the map, we see how Putin's Black Sea gamble has trapped Russia's ambitions elsewhere. Their long-held plans to dominate in Syria and the eastern Mediterranean are now hostage to Turkey's control. The Syria Express, the vital supply routes through the straits, depend entirely on Turkey's cooperation. The Russian naval bases in Tartus and Mimamim are tied to Turkey's control of the Bosporus and Dardanelles. Without their passage, Russia's outpost in the Mediterranean risks isolation. Turkey showed this power clearly. By restricting supplies and tightening control, Ankara can weaken Russia's foothold in the region in just weeks. Without logistical support, Russian bases become stranded. Powerless, nothing more than islands of strategic ruin waiting to be rescued. This Turkish advantage pinches Moscow from both the north and the south, encircling and squeezing from multiple angles. Meanwhile, Russia's operations in Africa, through the Africa Corps and support for groups in Libya, are linked to this blockade. Their network of air bases across Libya and transit routes to the Sahel becomes vulnerable. Every pipeline, every supply route dispersed, resilient, and yet precarious, depends on Turkey's stability in the region. If Turkey tightens its grip further and cuts off these arteries, Russia's ambitions across Africa could evaporate like mist. Their influence thin, their military engine slowing, destined to stall. The Mediterranean expansion also faces serious risk. Historically seen as Russia's gateway to the West, the region's security is shifting. Turkey's energy agreements are reshaping the balance. A groundbreaking 20-year deal with US-based energy giant Mercuria, for liquefied natural gas, 4 billion cubic meters annually, signaled a seismic shift. It's not just business, it's a strategic rejection of reliance on Russian energy. Turkey's pivot beyond pipelines toward LNG tanker imports signals a future where dependence on Gazprom diminishes. This decision threatens Russia's long-held narrative of being an energy superpower. The blackmail tool, cutting off gas supplies in winter, loses its power. With Turkey diversifying supplies, Moscow finds its leverage slipping away. The impact ripples outward: energy, defense, political stability, each strand shifting, weakening Russia's global influence. Beneath it all, a new reality emerges. The region that once seemed a playground for Moscow is slipping through its fingers. Turkey, with its strategic brilliance and relentless determination, is rewriting the rules. When you hear the hum of Turkish warships, see the radar scans, and sense the shifting tides, remember, this is a story of power, precision, and a relentless push against Russia's dominance, in every corner of the Black Sea and beyond. In recent years, Russia has repeatedly threatened to attack any US or UK ships crossing into the Black Sea. But now, the situation has fundamentally changed. No American-flagged vessels face Russian threats anymore. Instead, an entire fleet of ships flying Turkish, Romanian, and Bulgarian flags now patrol these waters. These ships operate seamlessly within NATO's data networks, using NATO-standard ammunition and following NATO protocols. This strategic shift dramatically undermines Putin's claims of NATO encroachment. NATO's presence isn't sneaking through back alleys, it has moved into the heart of the region, backed by local governments. Every Russian submarine's movement is tracked instantly. Not just by Turkish sonars, but by the integrated data systems of the entire alliance, relayed straight to Brussels. The Black Sea has shifted from Russia's backyard to NATO's most advanced outpost. Russia's once ambitious plans to use the Black Sea as its inland sea are now nearly impossible. Their submarines can't leave port without being detected. The Russian fleet in Sevastopol is immobilized, pushed back to Novorossiysk or even further east along the coast of Abkhazia. But Turkey isn't stopping there. Their ambitions stretch beyond the Black Sea. By analyzing the broader map, it's clear how Putin's gamble has turned the eastern Mediterranean and Syria into strategic hostage zones. Russia still maintains a limited foothold in Syria, but their supply lines, called the Syria Express, are fragile. This lifeline relies entirely on the Istanbul and Dardanelles Straits. The gateways controlling access to vital bases like Tartus and Mimimim. These crucial facilities are far from self-sufficient. They depend on continuous movement through the straits of Russian landing ships, fueled and supplied by the Black Sea Fleet's Alligator and Raputia-class ships. Now, imagine the moment Turkey decides to tighten the noose. Every ship's passage can be slowed, delayed, or outright cut off. This isn't just a logistical challenge, it's a strategic chokehold over Moscow's southern flank and beyond. Could Turkey's bold new moves be the key to strangling Russia's presence in the East Mediterranean and Middle East? Or has Putin's risky gamble already opened a door no one can close? Russia is eager to expand its military footprint far beyond its current limits. But Turkey's actions threaten to slam the brakes on this aggressive push. With rising tensions and the broad powers granted by the Montreux Convention, Ankara could cut off Russia's access in weeks. Imagine this: a vital military base, suddenly stranded, becomes a sitting duck, no longer a deterrent, just a hostage waiting for rescue. This strategic chokehold is a powerful weapon in Ankara's hands. It surrounds Moscow from both north and south, tightening the noose. Meanwhile, Russia's efforts in Africa, dubbed Africa Corps, are also under threat. The ties to Libya's key air bases form an intricate web, linking Moscow's hopes for influence in the Sahel with logistical lifelines through the region. Libyan airfields like Al-Qadim, Al-Jufra, Barak al-Shadi, and Al-Qadabiyah serve as crucial transit points, fueling Russia's destabilization campaigns in Africa. These scattered outposts create a resilient network, connecting Syria's front lines to Africa's heartland. But what happens when Turkey cuts this supply chain entirely? The entire operation could vanish like a mirage in the desert, leaving Russia's African ambitions in ruins. This isn't just speculation, it's a cold, calculated reality. Moscow's ability to project power depends on these routes, and Turkey's moves threaten to turn the tide. Every fueling operation, troop rotation, and arms shipment could grind to a halt, transforming Moscow's strategic dreams into a distant, fading echo. The question remains, how long can Russia sustain its regional ambitions under this mounting pressure? Recent developments have significantly altered Russia's long-standing strategic corridors, casting doubt on its future influence in global energy and military domains. Imagine the scent of fresh oil mingling with the maritime air, an invisible yet powerful force shifting beneath the waves. When Turkey closes off vital pathways, Russia's ambitions in Africa and beyond risk vanishing like a mirage in the desert heat, leaving Moscow vulnerable and exposed. The hidden infrastructure connecting Syria to the Sahel through multiple bases in Libya forms a complex web. These dispersed stations serve as resilient arteries, granting Russia access to distant, strategic regions. They enable Moscow to sustain its military presence, arms transfers, and influence over Africa. This sprawling transit network operates quietly beneath international radar, requiring minimal political effort from Libya. Yet, what if Turkey pulls the plug on this massive pipeline? Suddenly, the entire Russian expansion in these far-off regions could collapse, dissolving into nothingness like sand slipping through one's fingers. Meanwhile, the Mediterranean, once a corridor of opportunity for Moscow, is rapidly transforming into a battlefield of control. The seismic shifts in Turkey's military stance threaten Russia's decades-old strategies in energy diplomacy. The Kremlin always saw Ankara as a vital bridge, its last safe link to the West and energy markets. But recent events have shattered that illusion. The foundation of this connection was the 20-year energy accord between Turkey and a leading American energy firm, an agreement more than just a commercial deal. It's a clear message. Turkey no longer depends on Russian gas, instead, it opts for liquefied natural gas ships crossing the Atlantic, bypassing Moscow altogether. This shift is catastrophic for Moscow. Losing the European market was painful enough. Now, Turkey, their remaining key partner, is slipping away. With this long-term agreement, Ankara signals a future where Russian pipelines are less relevant. The strategic threat to Russia's energy supremacy is no longer theoretical, it's real and immediate. Moscow has been weakened, its most potent diplomatic weapon neutralized, replaced by diversification. The threat of winter shutoffs loses its grip, replaced instead with a strengthened stance, less vulnerable, more resolute. The economic and political fabric of Russia's influence begins to unravel. This isn't just about energy, it's about the shifting balance of power across continents. As Turkey embraces new allies and new energy sources, Moscow finds itself cornered, its old strategies echoing hollow in the wind. The question remains, how long can Russia cling to its fading empire before the final curtain falls? The stakes have never been higher, and the game of global influence is entering its most perilous chapter yet. The ripple effects of these strategic shifts are far-reaching, spreading beyond energy to threaten the foundations of NATO. As efforts in Washington heat up, discussions around the future of Russia's most critical defenses are accelerating at an unprecedented pace. Among the fiery options, radical ideas are on the table: dismantling Russia's S-400 systems, handing them over to U.S. control, or relocating them to base. These maneuvers could shake Moscow's grip on air defense, signaling a seismic shift in regional power. If Turkey re-enters the F-35 program and these plans unfold, it's more than a setback for Russia's military industry. It's a deadly blow to Moscow's covert tactics within NATO itself, like a Trojan horse turned against its master. The entire diplomatic landscape is crumbling, leaving Russia isolated from the West. From the coast of Romania with the new warship, to the skies with upgraded F-16s and the possible return of F-35 fighters, Moscow's encirclement is narrowing. Economically, the LNG agreement sends a powerful message: attack us, and we will retaliate harder, arming ourselves with military strength and strategic resilience. Turkey is standing tall as the region's chief security architect, eroding Russia's influence in the Black Sea while rewriting the rules of regional dominance. The smoke rising from the sank tea ship isn't just fire, it's the wreckage of Russia's fragile ties with Ankara. And once that fire subsides, what remains could be an irreparable breach of trust between Moscow and Ankara, an inevitable collapse of their once close alliance. Russia may not see it clearly now, but its own reckless moves are leading it straight into a trap of its own making, one from which there is no escape. The mounting tension in the Black Sea isn't just a regional flare-up, it's an unfolding catastrophe threatening Russia's very survival. While Moscow flexes its muscles with a few drones and missile launches, it's inadvertently granting Turkey the ultimate power to cut off its lifelines. Imagine ships halted at the straits, their engines humming in silence, as Ankara begins to inspect or even block shadow fleet tankers. This isn't mere posturing. It's the looming collapse of Russia's ability to access global markets, a blow that would cripple its economic stability and crush its war financing. The Black Sea, once regarded as Moscow's backyard, has now transformed into a chokehold held tightly by Turkey. Every reckless move Russia makes, every drone shot down, every ship hit is awakening a sleeping giant. Suddenly, the Black Sea isn't a Russian lake anymore. It's a NATO-ready naval fortress, with a Turkish navy armed to high standards and the straits poised to seal shut at Ankara's command. The battlefield has shifted from the water to the geopolitical chessboard, whose hand holds the key. It's Turkey, and the lock is firmly in its grasp. This isn't just about military might. It's a sophisticated trap, an economic snare designed to trap Russia's energy empire and halt its influence. Moscow's invasion of Ukraine aimed to control vital trade routes, but the new Silk Road bypasses Russia entirely, passing through Azerbaijan and Georgia, reaching Europe directly. Russia's monopoly crumbles, and with every freight train that avoids its borders, Moscow loses power. What's the real danger lurking behind this movement? A future where Russia is cut out from the very arteries that sustain its economy. As Turkey tightens its grip, Moscow's influence wanes, not through open war, but via the silent, precise strike of geoeconomics. The question remains, how long can Russia play this dangerous game before it's completely sidelined in its own backyard? The opening of the Zangezur corridor signals the rapid decline of Russia's influence on a vital trade route. Moscow faces a dark reality: billions in transit fees evaporate, and its political dominance over Central Asia erodes. Countries like Kazakhstan, Uzbekistan, and Turkmenistan no longer need Moscow's nod to sell their energy and goods. Turkey offers these nations a new outlet, an escape route free from Russian control. Just as Putin's risky energy threats failed to pressure Europe, his attempts at controlling logistics in Asia are crumbling fast. Russia finds itself more isolated, resembling a withering North Korea, while Turkey cements its role as the crucial bridge connecting east to west, north to south. With each passing day, the strategic grip on Russia weakens. The cracks deepen, not only militarily but psychologically. Within the Russian command, panic takes hold. Orders to attack Turkish ships and UAVs reveal a desperate fear. Loss of control over the Black Sea is no longer just a naval setback. It threatens the very future of Crimea. In the world of logistics, a devastating concept emerges: the island theory. If Crimea loses its land connection and key straits are cut, the peninsula can become an indefensible trap. Turkey's firm stance at sea is more than a political move. It is a powerful message, indirect yet unmistakable, supporting Ukraine's efforts in Crimea. As the Russian Navy retreats into port, trembling under the threat of Turkish patrols, Ukrainian drones and missile systems operate with terrifying ease. The missile strike on the Russian transport ship wasn't just an attack, it was a statement: Russia is cornered, powerless. Every aggressive move Moscow makes only deepens the collapse. The more Russia tries to show strength, the more it reveals its vulnerability. The Black Sea, once under Moscow's shadow, is transforming into NATO's frontline, placing Russia on the cusp of strategic disaster. The tide has turned, and the aftermath could redefine the entire balance of power in the region. The Black Sea waters are boiling with tension, but this heat does not manifest as dominance for Russia. Instead, it signals the slow unraveling of Moscow's imperial ambitions. As Turkey solidifies its stance backed by NATO support, Russian influence diminishes daily. Moscow's military, energy, and trade power are being chipped away. Every Turkish drone explosion overhead, every ship targeted in port, only accelerates Russia's decline. These actions do not threaten Turkey, they embolden it further. The more Russia reacts violently, the more its position crumbles. The stark truth emerges: the fate of the North depends on the master of the straits. Throughout history, whomever controlled these passages dictated regional destiny. Today, that authority is in Ankara's grasp. The script written for Moscow foresees a dark ending. As the Black Sea's shadows lengthen, the Kremlin's grip weakens, its imperial dreams melting into the waves. What are your thoughts on this shifting balance? Share your insights below. Your perspective matters. Thank you for watching. Our ships are no longer just patrol vessels, they are advanced naval hunters. Equipped with cutting-edge underwater scanning sonars, surface-to-surface guided missile systems, and electronic warfare capabilities, they form a formidable barrier in the Black Sea. While these ships may seem like technological exports, they represent a strategic shift pushing the battlefield closer to Moscow's doorstep. Russia's threats to strike US or UK ships entering the Black Sea have lingered for years. But now, that threat no longer exists. Instead, Russia faces a fleet flying Turkish, Romanian, and Bulgarian flags. These vessels are integrated into NATO's data networks, armed with NATO-standard munitions, operating under NATO doctrine. This isn't just a tactical victory, it's a game-changer. Moscow's plans to use the Black Sea as its inland sea are crumbling. The sea is becoming an extension of NATO's protective shield, with Turkish technology leading the charge. Every Turkish ship sailing through the waters now isn't an obstacle, it's a wall that Russia cannot breach. Their submarines, once free to maneuver, are now under constant surveillance, trapped by sensors that see through the darkest depths. This isn't mere defense, it's active containment. Every drone downed or intercepted sends a clear message: Turkey's engagement is at its peak. No more diplomatic notes, now, Ankara speaks Russia's language, naval power and air dominance. Every radar scan, every patrol, is a calculated move in this high-stakes chess game. The Black Sea is transforming into a NATO outpost, with Turkey as its spearhead. But what lies beyond these tactics? Beneath the radar of diplomacy, a new alliance has quietly taken shape, one that threatens Russia's naval dominance entirely. The alliance is called MCM Black Sea. When Russia tried to declare the sea dangerous by laying mines to block Ukrainian grain exports, Turkey struck back with a masterstroke. Through agreements with Romania and Bulgaria, Turkey established a permanent naval force brimming with NATO standards, yet compliant with the Montreux Convention, to dominate these waters. This move is more than strategic, it's revolutionary. It turns the Black Sea into a NATO-controlled zone, with a force that Russian ambitions cannot ignore. Imagine the shock in Moscow: every move they make is monitored in real time. Every submarine, every ship, each detection spins the web tighter around Russia's naval ambitions. The once seemingly invincible Russian Black Sea Fleet is now confined, forced to retreat to port or flee eastward. But Turkey isn't stopping there. It's expanding its influence, squeezing Russia from multiple angles, north, south, and across the Mediterranean. The game is changing. A new power dynamic is forming, and the stakes couldn't be higher. Building on Turkey's bold steps in the Black Sea, a new fortress is quietly taking shape beneath the waves. The first open-sea patrol vessel handed over to Romania marked a pivotal breakthrough, Turkey's first real barrier against Russia's naval ambitions. Outfitted with cutting-edge underwater scanning sonars, surface-guided missile systems, and electronic warfare tech, these ships are not mere patrol boats. They are fierce hunters, capable of detecting Russian submarines miles away. Imagine the icy silence beneath the surface, sensors sweeping through the depths. Every ripple, every shadow detected becomes a warning sign. Turkey is carving out a sea barrier that shrinks Russia's operational zone in the Black Sea, starting at the Romanian coast. This isn't just a defensive move, it's a calculated strike aimed at eroding Moscow's claim to dominate this strategic waterway. The shift is startling. Turkey, once a passive mediator, has now become an active force of containment. Silent but relentless. Every drone shot down over its airspace, every ship intercepted, sends a message: we speak the language of power now. Every Turkish vessel patrolling the waters, every radar scanning the sky, transforms from potential obstacle to insurmountable wall. Yet, even beyond these surface victories, deeper changes are unfolding. Hidden from diplomatic eyes, a new alliance is forming, one that's quietly ending Russia's control of the Black Sea. This clandestine coalition is called MCM Black Sea. While Russia laid dangerous mines to blockade Ukrainian grain shipments, Turkey's response was masterful. Through strategic agreements with Romania and Bulgaria, Turkey has established a permanent naval force that meets NATO standards. These ships fly the flags of NATO member states, yet operate under regional cooperation. Crucially, this alliance does not break the Montreux Convention, preserving international rules while redefining control. Picture the ocean's surface trembling with the weight of this new order. Ships moving seamlessly, monitored in real time by NATO's integrated networks. Every Russian submarine's movement is scrutinized and reported. The Black Sea is no longer Russia's backyard, it has become NATO's most advanced front. The implications are staggering. Russia's fleet struggles to emerge from port. The fleet stationed in Sevastopol is forced to retreat, hastily seeking refuge in Novorossiysk or even further east, beyond reach. Meanwhile, Turkey's grip reaches beyond the surface, targeting Russia's strategic footholds in Syria and the eastern Mediterranean as well. Picture the tense atmosphere, the scent of salt and oil in the air, the distant roar of engines, and the pulse of anticipation. Moscow's plans are unraveling, its military exports increasingly vulnerable. Is this the beginning of the end for Russia's naval ambitions in the region? This new chapter threatens to flip the entire balance. Russia's attempt to control vital corridors in Syria and the Mediterranean may soon become a distant dream. With Turkey's expanding influence, Moscow's ability to project power in these critical zones is rapidly diminishing, trapping it in a tightening net of strategic setbacks. The Black Sea's strategic transformation is only the beginning. A silent revolution is underway beneath the waves, reshaping the region's future one move at a time. Will Russia's ambitions be drowned in this tide of change? Or is Moscow about to face an even larger storm brewing beyond the horizon?